Hi, this presentation is called Supporting Language in a Diverse Classroom. The objectives of this presentation are to help you learn what a diverse classroom is, how you can create an inclusive classroom, and how English language learners can actually benefit the early childhood classroom. What is a diverse classroom? In a diverse classroom, you'll have students with many different backgrounds. For example, you may have students who speak different languages other than English. You will have students who have different cultures or who are different races. You will have students who have special needs. These may include special needs such as hearing impairment, visual impairment, physical impairments, or simply those who have learning disorders. You will also have students who come from different socioeconomic backgrounds. You may have students who are suffering from poverty, and you may have students who have more than they need. Gender also is part of a diverse classroom. Did you know that 25% of preschool children are from an English language learning home? Communication is one of the most important things that you can do in a diverse classroom. Communication includes having translators who can help speak to children in their native language. This also means that you personally may be able to learn more about that child's language and be able to speak to them one or two words in their native language. You can also communicate by using functional labeling. Functional labeling can include the native language as well as the language that these students speak. It also can include pictures or graphics to help children understand what they are putting where. Children's dictionaries and bilingual books are also important parts of communicating. There's oftentimes that you can find books such as this, a Spanish-English picture dictionary, or My First American Alphabet. Both of these types of books will help you be able to speak with children who may not speak your native language. Another opportunity that you can use in the early childhood classroom to communicate is sign language. Sign language can help with students who do not understand English. It can also help with students who are unable to talk. There's lots of different books that you can use, such as this one that teaches American Sign Language for children. Body language is a great way to help communicate with children when you're not able to speak in their native languages. Through body languages, you can point to objects, you can smile, you can nod, and you can encourage. And lastly, through communication, you can use visual supports, such as props or puppets, that can teach children what you're trying to talk about. How to create an inclusive classroom. In an inclusive classroom, as well as any classroom, one of the most important things that we can do is form a relationship and a bond with not only the children, but their families. Forming this relationship can let the children and the families know that you are there to love, care, and support them, and that they are in a safe environment. It's also important to encourage bilingualism. Not only children who are learning English, but also children who are currently English learners can learn. For example, if you're speaking to a child who speaks Spanish, the English language learner can learn English while at the same time the English speaking student can learn Spanish. By encouraging bilingualism, it lets all students feel like they are welcome. It's also crucial that we support cultural backgrounds. We should make sure that all students feel comfortable, that we involve their native languages, their native cultures, their dancing, and their artwork, not only supporting special holidays, but every day of the year. It is important that we facilitate hands-on learning so that those students that maybe do not understand English can still experience the learning objectives through hands-on activities. Speaking in native languages whenever possible also helps to create an inclusive classroom. You may not be able to speak full sentences, but for a child, only hearing one or two words in their native language lets them know that you think their culture and their background is important. Display diversity with decor. This is important because we want to make sure that in our classrooms, our pictures and our posters, our books, all talk about different cultures and different backgrounds. This allows children to feel welcome and not feel like they are out of place. Provide multicultural toys and books. Lots of stores are able to provide you with opportunities to purchase toys of multiple cultures. For example, at Dollar Tree, I was able to purchase these two dolls of different cultures. At Walmart, at Dollar General, there are multiple places when you can buy diverse toys and activities. It's also important to find books that will allow children to understand more about including people from different cultures. For example, this is a great book called Whoever You Are. This book helps you to learn more about people around the world. It also teaches that we are all alike, and it's important to see people from different cultures. Another book that I like to read to children is called A Ticket Around the World. This book, again, teaches about different cultures and different places that students may come from in your classroom. And lastly, this book, Grandma's Purple Flowers, talks about people of different races, people who may not look like you, who may be different than you, but are still just as important as you. It's also important to include books of various languages. For example, if you have a student who does not read English, you might be able to provide them with a book where they can read it in Spanish. There's also many books that you can purchase that allows you to have two different languages. For example, this book, Curious George at the Aquarium, can be read to students both in English and in Spanish. This will allow students to see the difference and the similarities of the two languages. Another book that you could purchase is The Three Little Pigs. And lastly, implementing diversity in your curriculum. It is important for you to make sure that your curriculum encourages diversity. Make sure that your children know that they are welcome and loved. An inclusive classroom is not a one-size-fits-all classroom. A curriculum is not a one-size-fits-all curriculum. As early childhood teachers, we have to make sure that we are individualizing support and curriculum to benefit each child within our classroom. 5 factors of a diverse classroom include self-esteem, acceptance, support for teachers, language development, and family. Self-esteem means that we need to encourage our students to feel good about themselves, no matter what background they come from, no matter what race they may be. All students need to understand that they are valuable and they are loved. Acceptance. Acceptance means that we have to make sure all students in our classroom accept each other for who they are and who they can be. Support for teachers. We need to make sure that we are supporting teachers and giving them the background and the tools and the education that they need to provide an inclusive classroom. Language development. Through language development, we are able to help English language learners become fluent in not only English and their native language, but possibly others. And family. It is important to build a relationship with family and ensure that they feel welcome and cared for. Did you know in 2017 there were over 5 million ELL students in the United States? Teaching strategies. Teaching strategies for a diverse classrooms include speaking bilingual words in the classroom, expanding themes or projects with props to enforce meaning. For example, when you do an activity that involves a word or a definition, it's important to make sure that you expand that throughout the day so that these English language learners can truly learn what that means. Using nonverbal communication. Again, through nonverbal communication, we are able to help students understand what words mean. Using visual support and aids. Assigning a language buddy. A language buddy is a wonderful way to help students who are English language learners learn to speak more fluently. When you assign a language buddy, you are helping a student because if you have a student who speaks Spanish and English, they can help a solely Spanish-speaking student learn quickly how to adapt in that classroom environment. Essentially, a language buddy becomes a student translator. You can invite families to share their culture. This is one of my favorite aspects of a diverse classroom because you're able to bring those families into your classroom and let them tell the background. It's extremely interesting and it makes those students feel like they're extremely important. Encourage all children to learn new languages. This is important because as children grow, they can be able to learn multiple languages. Represent various cultures in the classroom. Build relationships with the students and their families. Include cultural songs and dances. And learn about each child's background. It is so important to learn about each child's background because when we take the time to learn about them and their background and their culture, then we truly learn to know that student. Benefits of a diverse classroom. Cognitively, students can benefit from a diverse classroom because it encourages bilingualism, it can improve language development, it can increase vocabulary, and it can foster creativity. Socially, it prepares students for real-life experiences, and it reduces prejudice within the world. Emotionally, it can promote empathy with others, it can build self-confidence, and it can increase self-esteem. Teacher support. It is important for us to ensure that our teachers are getting the support that's needed to provide a quality ELL classroom. We should include ELL classroom training, offer bilingual teaching strategies, provide cultural awareness training, make sure that our teachers have access to diverse resources, be sure to provide continuous support to our teachers. Make sure that our teachers have access to translators when needed, provide bilingual materials and supplies, and help with curriculum support. Before we complete our references, I want to take the opportunity to share with you some wonderful books that can be beneficial to your classroom to help you learn more about the cultural diversity that you may have. This is a wonderful set of books called Ready to Read Living In. And you can find this for many different countries. This particularly is Mexico, Italy, Australia, and China. These books have wonderful facts about the countries. It talks about their backgrounds, their holidays, their cultures, the types of food that they eat, and the clothes that they wear. And lastly, I think it's extremely important to make sure that we share that no matter where a student may come from, that they are always loved, they are always cared for, and they are extremely important to us. Thank you.